So yesterday on the show, I talked about look how much this fits, right? John Tortorella is looking for a job. The Bruins are looking for a coach. But at the end of the day, that probably doesn't work. Even though John Tortorella might be able to do wonders with this team if this was the same team 10 years ago, I don't know how much that works in the NHL these days. Now, there's another name that's popped up in some Bruins back channels. Some folks on social media, some podcasters have talked about it. Joel Quenneville, the most toxic name in NHL coaches outside of Mike Babcock. Joel Quenneville. Could he be the really ballsy, put your career on the line kind of hire for the Boston Bruins? He's one of the very best NHL head coaches of all time. He's second all time in wins. He's won 3 Stanley Cups, but the guy is a third rail because of what happened in Chicago. The Kyle Beach incident there, the sexual assault that was happening inside the Blackhawks system, inside their locker room, basically, inside their training room. And there was obviously claims that Joel Quenneville knew about it. And he was suspended by the league for it. He met with Bettman and everything. He has been reinstated in this past year. No one went after him after he was reinstated in August of 24, but there was some interest. In fact, Detroit was really kicking the tires hard before they went out and got Todd McClellan for Joel Quenneville to reunite with Patrick Kane in the middle of the season and coach that team because they're desperate to finally get back to the playoffs. And Todd McClellan really lit a fire under them. They were in a playoff spot for a lot of the year. They're not going to make it. They have absolutely crumbled down the stretch. So I say that to say Steve Yzerman might be rethinking how they handled the Joel Quenneville thing, because the reason why no NHL team has stepped up and why they probably won't step up is not because of Joel Quenneville's record. It's because of his ties to this horrific story that was happening in Chicago as the Blackhawks were becoming a dynasty. It's abhorrent. It's awful. Like I don't know that you can get a job as an NHL head coach after that. He was fired by a different team that he was working for as that investigation went out, and obviously was suspended by the league for a couple of seasons there. He was coaching the Panthers. So it's all about how the Bruins want to handle this PR. Okay. They haven't handled it well over the last few years. The draft pick, who is the giant bully that they went out and signed for like a day 2 years ago, that was not good. The captain had to come out, Patrice Bergeron, and say, "Yeah, we're glad we don't have that kid. It's not really what we do." And it's a fan base that is. This is going to sound wrong, but like a fan base that does buy into cancel culture a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that Joel Quenneville shouldn't be canceled. I'm just saying that is going to create a ton of unrest inside an already divided fan base after a bad season and one that really wants change in the front office. This is not the change I think they want. But in terms of a pure hockey sense, yeah, it would be a great change for the Bruins. Just, I mean, you're talking about one of the best coaches of all time just sitting out there, waiting for a job, wanting a job. Whether the Bruins should do it or not from the entirety sense, I'm not saying that. And I think it probably brings more bad than good in 2025. But from a hockey sense, Joel Quenneville would be a tremendous fix for this Bruins team. You know, he's done rebuilds, he's done retools, and he's brought teams over the top. He's done it all. He's been successful everywhere he's gone. In fact, he had to strip it down at the end of Colorado before he got the Blackhawks job. But he obviously had some great teams with St. Louis that were always, playoff contenders, playoff teams after the whole Iron Mike Keenan experience, and then becomes a dynastic head coach with the Blackhawks. Because it's a heck of a lot better. He's a heck of a lot better than anyone else they'll be looking at. I'll say that. But whether it's worth the headache, that's a different story entirely. But you talk about a guy that brings in structure, brings in accountability, brings in a lot of years in this league, brings in a defined style, and brings in fucking Stanley Cup rings. There is nobody out there on the market that's even going to check off like 2 or 3 of those boxes, let alone 5. You know, Joel Quenneville is looking to get back, and someone's going to hire him. Someone will. You know, and maybe Detroit kicked the tires by leaking out that they were looking at him, and the fan base, you know, totally blew it up. It's probably what happened. But I think you can get to a non-traditional hockey market, honestly, that is dying for a winner, that also doesn't follow hockey hard enough to kind of know the extent of this controversy. Nashville, who's going to get rid of, you know, another big time coach as well, a guy who's running that organization, and Barry Trotz. Like Nashville, they would take him. Or, you know, Utah, new team. They've actually got a good young core. Like maybe they're trying to take that next step. You think they'd like Joel Quenneville? Shit, man. Obviously the most traditional hockey market, but I think Montreal would take Joel Quenneville if they said, hey, he can get this young team over the top, right? There will be suitors for Joel Quenneville. I'm interested to see how willing the Bruins are to put their balls on the table and say, you know what, we want to win hockey games. For better or for worse, no matter how you think of that we want to win hockey games, and we need a dynamite coach in here, and there is nobody better than Joel Quenneville. We're not pulling Scotty Bowman out of there. I'm intrigued to see where they go with that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Over 90% of you watching are not subscribed to the channel. That helps us out a ton. We're bringing you nothing but Boston sports content 5 days a week, live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts. And check out the other videos that we've got up on the channel that are talking Boston sports every day. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air.